Most people over 50 have absolutely no idea that the very first thing they do every single morning, something they have been doing for decades without a second thought, is quietly raising their stroke risk every single day. And I am not talking about smoking. I am not talking about a sedentary lifestyle. I am talking about something far more common, far more innocent looking, and something that is happening in millions of homes right now as you watch this video. My name is Dr. James Harlow. I have been practicing general and preventive medicine for over 20 years. And what I see in my clinic every single week, what I hear from patients who come to me after a cardiovascular event, after a stroke, after a serious health scare, made me feel I absolutely had to make this video. Because the morning habit I am about to explain to you is so normalized, so deeply embedded in our culture that most people would never connect it to something as serious as stroke risk. But the science is clear, the clinical evidence is overwhelming, and your body has been trying to tell you something that you may have been ignoring for years. Let me tell you about a patient I saw 3 months ago. His name was Richard, 62 years old, retired accountant, active, healthy weight, no family history of heart disease. He came into my office after experiencing what he described as a strange episode one morning. He had woken up feeling dizzy, his vision had blurred for a few seconds, and he felt a tightness across his chest that disappeared after about 10 minutes. He almost did not come in. He told me he thought it was just stress, maybe he had stood up too quickly. But his wife insisted. When I asked Richard to walk me through his typical morning routine, he did not think twice about it. He woke up at 6, went straight to the kitchen, made himself a strong cup of coffee, drank it black on an empty stomach while checking his email, every single day, for the last 35 years. And Richard looked at me like I was speaking a foreign language when I told him that this exact habit, this innocent-sounding morning ritual, was likely contributing to the episode he had just experienced. Here is what most people do not understand. When you wake up in the morning, your body is in a very specific physiological state. Your cortisol levels, the stress hormone, are naturally at their highest point of the entire day. This is called the cortisol awakening response, and it is completely normal. Your body uses this surge of cortisol to help you wake up, to give you energy, to prepare you to face the day. But here is the critical part. When you drink coffee, especially strong coffee, on an empty stomach within the first hour of waking, you are adding a massive dose of caffeine on top of already elevated cortisol. And what does caffeine do? It triggers your adrenal glands to release even more cortisol. It stimulates your sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight response. Your heart rate increases, your blood pressure spikes, your blood vessels constrict. And all of this is happening while your stomach is empty, which means the caffeine is absorbed faster, hits your bloodstream harder, and the spike is even more dramatic. Now, if you are in your 20s or 30s, your cardiovascular system can handle that spike relatively well. But after 50, after 60, everything changes. Your arteries are less elastic. Your blood pressure regulation is not as efficient. Your body does not metabolize caffeine the same way it used to. And if you have been doing this every single morning for decades, you are essentially starting every day by putting your cardiovascular system under acute stress. Let me be very clear about something. I am not telling you to stop drinking coffee. Coffee, consumed correctly, actually has health benefits. The antioxidants in coffee can support cardiovascular health. Moderate coffee consumption has been linked to lower risks of certain diseases. But timing and context matter more than most people realize, especially after the age of 50. Now, if you have been doing this morning coffee habit for years and you are just now hearing that it could be affecting your cardiovascular health, I want you to do something for me right now. I want you to write the word alert in the comments below. And if this is the first time you are learning about the connection between morning coffee on an empty stomach and stroke risk, write first time. I read every single comment, and I want to understand how many people are experiencing this so I can make more content that addresses what you are actually going through. And while you are down there, please make sure you are subscribed to this channel and that you have liked this video because it helps me reach more people who need this information. Let me explain what happens inside your body in those first 30 to 60 minutes after you drink that coffee on an empty stomach. The caffeine enters your bloodstream rapidly. Within 15 minutes, your heart rate begins to climb. Your blood pressure can increase by 10 to 15 points, sometimes more. Your blood vessels, especially the smaller arteries that feed your brain, your heart, and your kidneys, begin to constrict. This constriction reduces blood flow, and reduced blood flow means reduced oxygen delivery to vital organs. At the same time, caffeine stimulates the release of adrenaline. Adrenaline tells your body that something urgent is happening, that you need to be ready to fight or run. Your liver releases stored glucose into your bloodstream, spiking your blood sugar even though you have not eaten anything. Your kidneys begin working harder to process and eliminate the caffeine, which increases urine production and can lead to dehydration if you have not been drinking water. And here's where it gets dangerous for people over 50. If you already have any underlying cardiovascular vulnerabilities, if your arteries are already somewhat stiffened from years of normal aging, if you have even mildly elevated cholesterol or early plaque formation that you do not even know about yet, this daily morning spike in blood pressure and vasoconstriction creates the perfect conditions for a cardiovascular event. A stroke happens when blood flow to a part of your brain is interrupted. This can happen in two ways. Either a blood clot blocks an artery, which is called an ischemic stroke, or a weakened blood vessel bursts, which is called a hemorrhagic stroke. The vast majority of strokes in people over 50 are ischemic strokes caused by clots, and one of the major risk factors for clot formation is sudden, repeated spikes in blood pressure combined with reduced blood flow and dehydration. Think about what your morning coffee habit is doing. It is spiking your blood pressure at the exact moment when your cortisol is already high. It is constricting your blood vessels at the exact moment when your blood is slightly thicker from overnight dehydration. It is activating your stress response at the exact moment when your body is trying to transition gently from sleep to wakefulness. Day after day, year after year, for decades. I had a patient, a woman in her late 60s, who came to see me after her sister had a stroke. Her sister was 64, active, ate relatively well, and had collapsed one morning in her kitchen. The paramedics said it was a massive ischemic stroke. She survived, but she lost mobility on her left side and her speech was affected. My patient was terrified. She wanted to know what she could do to prevent the same thing from happening to her. We went through her entire health history, and when I asked about her morning routine, she described the exact same pattern. Wake up. Coffee immediately. Black, strong, empty stomach, every single day. I explained to her what I am explaining to you right now, and I gave her a very simple protocol that I am going to share with you in just a moment. But first, I need you to understand one more piece of this puzzle because it is not just about the coffee. It is about what the coffee is doing to your circadian rhythm, your inflammation levels, and your long-term cardiovascular health. When you drink coffee on an empty stomach first thing in the morning, you're also disrupting your body's natural cortisol curve. Cortisol is supposed to peak in the morning and gradually decline throughout the day, reaching its lowest point at night so you can sleep. But when you artificially spike cortisol even higher with caffeine at 6 or 7 in the morning, you are essentially telling your body to stay in stress mode longer. This keeps inflammation elevated. Chronic inflammation is one of the primary drivers of arterial plaque formation, which directly increases stroke risk. Your body is also trying to regulate blood sugar in the morning. After an overnight fast, your liver releases small amounts of glucose to give you energy. This is normal. But when caffeine triggers additional glucose release without any food intake to balance it, your blood sugar spikes and then crashes. This roller coaster effect puts stress on your pancreas, increases insulin resistance over time, and contributes to metabolic dysfunction. And metabolic dysfunction, particularly insulin resistance, is strongly linked to increased stroke risk in people over 60. Let me tell you about one more patient because this story stayed with me. His name was Tom, 71 years old, veteran, tough guy. Refused to admit anything was wrong until his son practically dragged him into my office. Tom had been having what he called funny spells for about 6 months. Moments where he would lose his train of thought mid-sentence. Brief episodes of blurred vision. a strange tingling in his left hand that came and went. He thought it was just old age. When I examined Tom and reviewed his symptoms, I recognized them immediately. They were transient ischemic attacks, mini strokes, warning strokes. His brain was experiencing brief interruptions in blood flow that were resolving on their own, but they were absolutely a red flag that a major stroke could be coming. We ran tests. His carotid arteries showed moderate plaque buildup. His blood pressure was borderline high, but nothing extreme. Nothing that would have made him a textbook high-risk patient. So I asked about his daily habits. Tom told me he had been drinking coffee since he was 18 years old. Military habit. Strong, black, first thing in the morning before anything else. He drank it so early that he often would not eat breakfast until 10 or 11, sometimes not at all. He had been doing this for over 50 years. His body had been starting every single day with a cardiovascular stress response for half a century. I sat down with Tom and explained everything I am telling you now. He was skeptical at first. He could not believe that something as simple as coffee could be connected to his symptoms. But he agreed to try a different approach, and what happened over the next 3 months was remarkable. The funny spells stopped. The tingling in his hand disappeared. His blood pressure came down 10 points without any medication changes. He told me he felt sharper, more clear-headed than he had in years. So, what did Tom change? What is the protocol I gave him? And the same protocol I'm going to give you right now. First, wait. Do not drink coffee immediately upon waking. Give your body at least 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up before you have your first cup of coffee. This allows your natural cortisol levels to peak and begin their decline without interference. It allows your body to wake up naturally without the artificial spike. Second, hydrate first. Drink a full glass of water, at least 8 to 12 ounces, within the first 15 minutes of waking. Your body is dehydrated after 6 to 8 hours of sleep. Your blood is slightly thicker. Drinking water first thing rehydrates you, improves circulation, and prepares your system for the day. If you want to add a pinch of sea salt or a squeeze of lemon, even better. This supports electrolyte balance and gentle detoxification. Third, eat something before coffee. Even if it is something small, a handful of nuts, a piece of fruit, a boiled egg, a slice of whole grain toast with avocado. Anything that gives your stomach some substance and slows the absorption of caffeine. This prevents the blood sugar roller coaster and reduces the intensity of the cardiovascular spike. Food also triggers digestive processes that moderate the stress response coffee would otherwise cause on its own. Fourth, reduce the strength and quantity, especially if you are over 60. If you have been drinking 2 or 3 strong cups first thing in the morning, cut that in half. Your body does not metabolize caffeine the way it used to. What felt normal at 40 can be genuinely harmful at 65. A smaller, moderate cup of coffee consumed after food and water is far less likely to cause the dangerous spikes we have been talking about. And fifth, pay attention to how your body responds. This is critical. After you make these changes, notice how you feel. Do you have more stable energy? Is your heart rate calmer? Do you feel less jittery or anxious? Are you sleeping better at night? Your body will tell you if this change is helping. Listen to it. Now, I know some of you are thinking, Dr. Harlow, I have been drinking coffee this way my entire adult life, and I am fine. And maybe you are. Maybe you are one of the lucky ones whose cardiovascular system has tolerated this habit without noticeable damage. But here is the reality. Stroke risk is cumulative. The damage that leads to a stroke does not happen overnight. It builds silently, invisibly, over years and decades. The plaque in your arteries, the stiffening of your blood vessels, the chronic low-grade inflammation. These things do not announce themselves until something goes wrong. And by the time you have symptoms, by the time you have that dizzy spell or that episode of blurred vision or that weakness in your arm, the damage is already done. Prevention is not about waiting until you feel bad. Prevention is about making small changes now, today, that protect you from something catastrophic happening. 5 years from now, 10 years from now, I want to be very clear about something else. This morning coffee habit is not the only factor in stroke risk. Of course it is not. Genetics play a role. Blood pressure, cholesterol, smoking history, activity level, diet, sleep quality, stress management, all of these things matter. But what makes this morning habit so dangerous is that it is invisible. It is normalized. It is something people do without thinking. And it is cumulative. It compounds all the other risk factors you might already have. If you are someone who already has high blood pressure, this habit makes it worse. If you already have cholesterol issues, this habit accelerates plaque formation. If you already have blood sugar problems, this habit worsens insulin resistance. It is not that coffee on an empty stomach will cause a stroke all by itself. It is that it creates the conditions, day after day, that make a stroke far more likely when combined with everything else your body is managing. Here is what I want you to take away from this video. Your morning routine matters more than you think. The first 60 to 90 minutes after you wake up set the tone for your entire day. Not just mentally, but physiologically. Your cardiovascular system, your hormones, your blood sugar, your inflammation levels, all of these respond to what you do in those first moments. And if you have been starting every day with a habit that spikes your blood pressure, constricts your blood vessels, dehydrates you, and keeps you in a stress state, you are putting yourself at risk. But the good news, the reason I made this video, is that this is fixable. You do not need medication. You do not need expensive treatments. You do not need to give up coffee entirely. You just need to change when and how you drink it. Wait an hour. Hydrate first. Eat something small. These are simple, free, actionable steps that can have a profound impact on your stroke risk and your overall cardiovascular health. I have seen it work in my clinic hundreds of times. Patients who make this change, who shift their morning routine just slightly, report feeling better within weeks. Their blood pressure stabilizes. Their energy is more consistent. They sleep better. Their minds feel clearer. And most importantly, their risk factors improve. The silent damage stops accumulating. So if you have watched this far, I am asking you to do 3 things right now. First, like this video. It helps more people find this information, and that genuinely saves lives. Second, make sure you are subscribed to this channel, because I make videos like this every single week, covering the health topics that matter most to people over 50 and 60, the things most doctors do not have time to explain in a standard appointment. And third, leave me a comment. Tell me if you have been doing this morning coffee habit. Tell me if you are going to try changing it. Tell me what health topics you want me to cover next. I read every comment, and your feedback directly shapes the content I create. I truly hope this information helps you take better care of yourself and the people you love. Protecting your health after 50 is not about fear. It is about knowledge. It is about understanding what your body is trying to tell you and making small, intelligent changes that add up to a longer, healthier, more vibrant life. You deserve that. Your family deserves to have you around, healthy and strong, for many more years. Take care of yourself. Make that one small change tomorrow morning, and I will see you in the next video.